All right. Hello. This is if you missed class today on Wednesday. It's the 26th of August. So a couple things we went through. We were live, and we will be live every Wednesday during your class period. So the questions, obviously, that I didn't get from the people that were here, but from the people that might be here, are how to even get to our live classes. So what we are going to do is during you go into the main Schoology and you go into week one. And when you go into week one, hopefully you've been here doing some of these things, where it goes into Wednesday live, probably where you clicked this video. Instead of seeing this video, if you had come to class today, you would have seen the link to get into the Google Meet, kind of just to get to Google Meet. And then the code is BayChem1. So every Wednesday during your class period, you will get into the Wednesday folder, click the link, and then write BayChem1, and then we will be here. So if you missed it because you didn't know how to get there, or I'm not using Schoology conferences, I think Schoology conferences was having some issues. So wonderful. So if you were having any issues with that, hopefully you can find us next week during your class period. The other thing was asking if everybody has watched the lectures. So Monday and Tuesday both have a lecture. And so you want to make sure you've watched those. And then you need to make sure you also do the 3 lecture questions so that I know that you watched those lectures. So making sure that you do that. Next, I want to talk a little bit about Thursday. So if you take a look at Thursday in the week, I don't know if I've talked a lot about Thursday. It was very hard-hitting about Monday and Tuesday. But on Thursday, we're always going to post a lab or a demonstration or something to reinforce the things that we have been learning that week. So this week, we did the Golden Penny Lab. So you're going to go through that. Now, underneath it is the worksheet. We didn't put it in the packet that you either printed or had given to you, because I think that it's overwhelming the amount of papers you're getting anyways at one time. And we didn't want to waste anybody's printers and things like that. So it is there if you would like to print it out, because you do have to know some of the information off of it. But the idea is it's going to reinforce concepts. We are going to know whether or not you watch this because we're going to put a question or 2 about the lab, Thursday's lab. We're always going to put that on the quiz on Friday. So I don't think I was specific about that earlier when we've been talking about things. So you do have to watch the lab from Thursday. The other thing on Thursday is that I will have office hours where I'm available if you have any questions. You might want to give me a little email to make sure I'm not like recording another lecture or making up some chemicals or anything like that. Shoot me a little email, but I will be on from 7:30 with an hour break for lunch until 1:30, so the regular school hours. And then the last thing you have to do, and you can do this once we meet, because if you missed class, then you can't get your participation points for class, but you will need to come to an office hour on Thursday in order to get your participation points for the week. Usually, if you come to class next week, it will be a little bit easier. Oops, sorry. It will be a little bit easier. And so you will come in and you will answer the question A, if you came to Wednesday's class, which you cannot do this week, but you can answer B once you attend the office hours. C will be a very rarely used thing. The idea of the participation points is that I get to meet with you face to face at least once a week. That is the main objective. So I will not be using C. I almost didn't want to put it in as an option, but better to have more options than less. You cannot just email me and then go in here and write the points. I need to see you face to face. See as if you and me have an understanding that there is something extenuating that we can't get face to face. Okay, so you will come and see me during my office hours on Thursday, and then you will answer this question. Once you do that, then it will open up your quiz, which will be on Friday, which leads me to we talked about the quiz. Friday's quiz is going to be 15 questions. It's going to be 30 points. The material we'll cover are safety rules, lab equipment, and then the lab from Thursday, which is the Golden Penny Lab. So it will have, thank you. It will have 5 questions over the safety rules. It will have 8 questions over the lab equipment, and it will have 2 questions over the Golden Penny Lab. So what I suggest you do right now, and what I suggested they did, is I would think you should get out your safety worksheet. And I think you should get out your lab equipment worksheet and go along with me. And any of these ones that we went over in class are ones that I like and I think are important. And they are probably going to be the same ones that I would put on a test or quiz or assessment opportunity. So what we did was I had little popsicle sticks with all of your names on it. And then I just randomly picked one out and then asked them a question. So if you want to kind of play along with me right now and make sure that you could answer these questions, then you will have gotten the same practice that they did during the class. So the first thing, I picked a name out of the hat, boop, and I said, person, tell me what piece of equipment this is. And I had a little kind of up close here. What type of equipment is this? Hopefully you said that this is a beaker tong. And then the use for this is to hold hot beakers. Good job. Then I picked another name and I said, please tell me what safety rule these people are violating. And you hopefully take a look at these pictures and you say, oh, they're eating or drinking in the lab. And the way that remedy that is that they're not allowed to eat or drink in the lab. Okay. Then we looked at another piece of equipment and I pulled another name. Can you tell me what the name of these are? Not to be confused with the beaker tongs. These are crucible tongs and they are to hold hot crucibles. Beautiful. Then I pulled another name and we asked what was going wrong in these pictures. The nice lady there is missing something and the guy here on the other side is wearing something incorrectly. So hopefully you said there are no goggles or not proper goggles in the lab. And to make that, fix that violation, the safety rule is that they always need to wear your lab apron and your goggles appropriately when in class. All right, the next thing that we asked was, what is this? And hopefully you can say that this is the Bunsen burner, and it is used for heating items, The next picture here was kind of hard to figure out. I would look in this general area. Beautiful. So the violation that they're doing is they have their long hair not tied back. And in order to be safe in the lab, you need to know that if you fall forward and your hair falls forward, that is defined as long hair and it does need to be tied back. The next item that we had was this. Beautiful. All right, so this is an Erlenmeyer, and it is used for mixing. You put items in here, and then you mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. Good stuff. The next one was what to do if there is a fire in the chemistry classroom. And hopefully the first thing that you would say is that you would alert the teacher so that I can put it out. Next, we asked, what are these items? Wonderful, and hopefully you're saying that they're funnels and they aid in the transfer of materials. The next rule we talked about is if you touch something hot, what might happen? And you're going to get a burn. And then we asked if you remember the definition of a burn in this class. A burn is cell death. And if you touch something hot, that would be a thermal burn. And the way that you remedy a thermal burn is lots and lots of cold water, rinsing it with lots and lots of cold water. The next piece of equipment were these. Hopefully you know what these are. These are goggles. And what they do is they protect your eyes. Good, protect your eyes. The next we talked about if you accidentally come in contact with chemicals and didn't wash them off. The first thing we asked is what would be the first symptom of a chemical burn? And that would be a red and itchy spot on your skin. It would be a chemical burn if you came in contact with chemicals, not thermal. And the remedy for that is lots and lots of cold water again as well. Let me find my next piece of equipment. Aha! The next piece of equipment is this item. Hopefully you know its name. Oopsies. So sorry. It's called a pipette. And what it does is it transfers small amounts of liquid. So you can suck up some liquids and then move them. Oh, small amounts of liquids. Next, we talked about what you should do if you find broken glassware or if you drop a beaker or anything like that. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to alert the teacher. And then I asked, where do you put any broken glassware? And you would say you would put it in the broken glassware container for the safety of others. The next piece of glassware is, or the next, piece of equipment was this. And hopefully you know that this is a stirring rod and it is used to stir. The next rule we went over was what to do if there is an accident in the lab. And what you would want to do is you would want to always immediately tell the teacher. I need to know so that I can minimize any harm that comes to you and immediately start treatment. But it's also good if you let me know if you hurt yourself, because maybe there's a step in the procedure that is unsafely written. So telling me immediately helps you and also helps future people if I need to point something out, that they, watch out for step 12. A lot of people are burning themselves on that. So it's good for you and for others. The next piece of lab equipment is this guy here. Hopefully you know what this is. This is a test tube, and the test tube is not used for measuring. It simply holds reactions. We asked what this gentleman was doing wrong, and he is smelling directly chemicals out of a piece of glassware, and we want to make sure that we are always wafting. There are 3 steps to wafting. It's always great fun when you see kids like sticking their face in here and going like, I'm wafting, don't you know? Wafting. Just because you're waving your hand around does not mean that you are wafting. So there are 3 steps. The first thing you want to do, you want to hold it 12 inches away from your face. You would like to close your eyes so that you don't put any chemicals into your eyes, even though you will have goggles on. And then you do waft, which means you move your hand in the direction of your nose and you're pulling the vapors to your face. Next, we have one of these. This is the only thing we're going to use to measure liquids in class. This is called a graduated cylinder, and it measures volume of liquids in milliliters. Next, if you leave or if you see a lit Bunsen burner unattended, what should you do? And the answer to that is you should turn it off. Okay, you should always have one of your partners watching your Bunsen burner to make sure that you do not have a lit Bunsen burner unattended. Just an open flame is not super good to have in class. And the next piece of equipment is this guy. I like to put this guy on the test assessment opportunities because a lot of people would not be able to tell me the use. This is called a piece of wire gauze. And what you're going to do, we'll talk about it more on Monday. When you are going to heat something, you put the Bunsen burner underneath here and it's going to heat this beaker. If you were to just put a Bunsen burner directly on here, the heat would not dissipate very well. So this is kind of like a cooktop. It kind of diffuses the heat for even heating. Diffuses the heat for even heating. Okay, Perfect. And then the next thing was if you try to cool hot glassware with cold water, you can cause heat shock, and it will crack the glass. So if you have anything hot, what are you supposed to do? You don't want to run it under cold water. You want to just set it down on the counter and let it cool. These countertops are quite expensive because they are chemical and heat resistant. So you can put pretty much anything as hot as you can get in this class. You can put it down to cool on the countertops. What are we doing next here? Next we have this bad boy. I like to put this on the test too because people sometimes misspeak with this. This is a beaker, but it is not used to measure, okay? All this does is hold reactions. If you're going to measure something in this class volume-wise, you need to use a graduated cylinder. Wonderful. Last safety rule we talked about is a messy lab station. You do not want to leave during your class or during your lab, you don't want to have a whole bunch of papers around and your phone and all that stuff out. You want to keep a clean lab station. And then at the end, you always want to clean up your lab station and wash your hands. The last piece of lab equipment we talked about was this. And this is a thermometer. And what it does is it measures temperature, and the unit that we're going to use in this class is Celsius. Okay? Wonderful. So then I kind of just opened it up to see if we had any questions. And then I reminded you to fill out the survey at the bottom of Thursday. So you guys can't do that because you weren't in class, but you need to write me an email if you missed and make up some time for you and me to meet on Thursday. You got to watch the lab from Thursday, and then you'll be prepared for the quiz on Friday, which is going to be 15 questions and 30 points. You will have, let me write this down here. Safety rules, I believe, has 5 questions. Lab equipment has 8 questions, and there are 2 questions over the Golden Penny Lab. So thank you for watching this video to catch up on what you missed on Wednesday. And then am looking forward to seeing you sometime during my office hours on Thursday. Write me an email. Okay. Thank you.